Oh, everyone's mics on?
On.
Okay. Good evening. The Board of Appeals hearing for November 6, 2025 is now in order. We'll start with roll call. To my left,
Richard Wayner, present.
Bill Putland, present.
Jeff Carhart, present.
Bill Powell, present.
Thank you. Tonight, we're here, the purpose of our hearing is a request for a conditional use. And at this time, anyone who wishes to speak at the meeting, please stand for the oath. Raise your right hand. Do you hereby solemnly declare or affirm under penalties of perjury that the responses given and statements made will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated. The codified zoning ordinances of the mayor and city council for the city specifies procedural governing the operation of the Board of Appeals for the city of Havre de Grace. Section 3 dictates administrative requirements to be met prior to the hearing. This includes advertising, posting the property, and notification of applicable property owners. Have these items been met?
Yes, Chairman.
Thank you. Have you received any responses from interested parties?
Yes, Chairman. And I believe several of them are in the gallery today.
Great. Okay, thank you. The ordinances governing the operation of the Board of Appeals for the city is a matter of public record and is available at City Hall should anyone wish to review it. The applicant tonight, again, is requesting a conditional use. The first case that we will hear tonight is going to be case 556, which is located at the southwest of Level Road, and this is a conditional use for the gas station. At this time, yes, we'll hear from the applicant or the applicant's representatives.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Eric McLaughlin, Pessin Katz Law, 4690 Millennium Drive in Belcamp. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, which for the purposes of this evening's hearings, I'm going to continuously refer to as the Green family. That's how they've been known before decision makers in this room in the past. And obviously, Mr. Jonathan Green is with me as his family's representative. For the sake of clarity, I want to make sure that I'm understanding that we're proceeding first with the gas station conditional use.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Which is, again, case 556.
Thank you. And in that respect, what we are ultimately going to request is that a member of this board make a motion to approve the application for a gas station use as a conditional use in the RB zone at this location. For our presentation, we intend really three things. The first thing is, with me, I'm going to adopt and incorporate the staff report that your Director of Planning and his team have put together. Obviously, it's favorable to the Green family, and they'll explain that to you. But specifically, I'm going to adopt and incorporate the items that are referenced in it. It references not only the code, but also Annexation Resolution number 277 and the single concept plan that came about and was passed legislatively as a result of that annexation resolution, because both of those things are specifically relevant to these properties and this property in particular. The second thing we'll do, and probably what you would want to hear more about, is testimony from Mitch Enzer and Bay State Land Services. He's been studying this property for more than a decade. He's going to offer his professional opinions on why there should ultimately be the motion that we're seeking for the approval of this conditional use. And then finally, we intend, as a third step, to simply remain available to answer any questions that you may have. So with that, I have adopted and incorporated the things that were important to me to move forward with Mr. Enzer's testimony, and I'd like to go ahead and proceed with that with your permission.
Please do.
Thank you. Mr. Enzer, can you state your name and address? And I'll ask, Mr. Chairman, is it going to be important for him to be proximate to one of these microphones? Can you
Yes,
hear
it
him?
is.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it will be picked up or not, so we should have one for him.
Thank you. And again, I'll just ask if you can provide your name and professional address for the record, please.
Yes, and I was here for the oath. Mitch Enzer with Bay State Land Services. We're located at 2012 Rock Spring Road, and that's in Forest Hill, Maryland, 21050.
And what is your position, thank you, sir, what is your position with Bay State Land Services?
Yes, I'm a partner in the firm. I am also a project manager for the company.
And what's your educational experience?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's degree in management from Towson University. I also have a certificate in surveying, and that was from Hartford Community College. From a work experience, I have been in the project management, design, and engineering field for 37 years.
And in the course of your work, do you regularly undertake land planning for commercial, residential, capital improvement, land development projects?
Yes, I do.
And do you conduct project viability research for those things?
Yes.
And do you prepare design concepts and project costs and time estimates for those things?
Yes, we do.
And do you do that not only for property owners, but also for developers and end users as well?
Yes.
And are you often involved at the very beginning of a project, like with this conditional use approval, through the design and the permitting and the construction through to the end?
Yes, my particular role in that resides in both the land planning, the design management for technical designs, construction plans, record plats, as well as closing out a project after it's constructed.
Have you been accepted as an expert in providing testimony in the past?
Yes, I have.
And have you been accepted as an expert in Hartford County?
Yes.
Have you been accepted as an expert in the city of Havre de Grace?
Yes, I have.
As part of your profession and in the course of your duties, are you required to be familiar with the zoning codes of various municipalities?
Yes, that is an absolute requirement.
And are you familiar with the zoning code of the city of Havre de Grace?
Yes, I am.
And are you specifically familiar with the code requirements for conditional uses?
Yes.
Mr. Enzer, I'm going to show you what appears to be a CV with your name on it and your professional qualifications. Do you recognize that?
Yes, and that is current.
Is that your CV?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'd like to provide this to the.
Okay, thank you.
And does that reflect the education and experience that we've been discussing just momentarily?
Yes, it does. And the last page does show the number of Board of Appeals cases I have testified in. I think that number ranges somewhere in the 25 to 30 range.
And it shows the various jurisdictions in which that's taken place.
Yes, it does, including Havre de Grace.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I would ask that you accept Mr. Enzer as an expert familiar with the zoning code of this city and specifically with knowledge of the burden of proof for a conditional use approval.
That's fine.
Thank you. Mr. Enzer, are you familiar with the property located at the intersection of Maryland Route 155 and Bully Rock Parkway in Havre de Grace?
Yes, I am.
And that's the subject of this application, correct?
Correct.
How many years have you been working with the Green family on this project?
I started work, our project number is from 2019. We started working and investigating this property before that, so it's been approximately 10 years.
And if you had to ballpark for this board, how many times would you say you visited that property?
Probably in the range of 25 to 30 for different particular reasons.
And in the course of the performance of your work, have you reviewed plats of the property?
Yes, we have.
In the course of the performance of your work, have you reviewed public information about the property?
Yes.
And in that course, have you in fact created plats of the property?
Yes, we have.
And did you in fact create the exhibit that is the subject of the application this evening?
Yes, a representative of our firm created that exhibit.
Okay. Did you participate in the preparation of the application for the approval of the conditional use of
Yes.
this gas station? In the course of preparing that application, did you meet with city planner Eric Lawrence and Director Goins and respond to questions that they had.
Yes, we did.
Please state your understanding on this particular application of what it is that the Green family is seeking.
Yes, the property is zoned residential business. The gas station use that is being requested as a conditional use is in the code section 205-27M as a conditional use in the RB zone.
And what is your understanding of what a conditional use is as opposed to, say, a principally permitted use?
Right. It slightly different than a principally permitted use. A conditional use is an approvable use subject to any other conditions that city staff or the Board of Appeals were to put on that particular use at that property.
And is it your understanding that the conditions or the criteria necessary for a conditional use are actually provided for in the code itself?
Yes, they are. And I believe they're outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Can you describe for the board just the physical characteristics and of the property, and feel free to refer to your exhibit if you'd like. I'll pull it to you. Gentlemen, brought a microphone if you prefer.
I'm okay with sitting, if that's okay.
It is.
The exhibit before you is the exhibit for the gas station use, and that's section 205-27M. Generally, the location of this red hatched area is to the east side of Bully Rock Parkway. Bully Rock Parkway is also east of Interstate 95 and is on the south side of Maryland Route 155. The red hatched area is fully encompassed on parcel 210, and as you'll see, part of the parcel 210 is not hatched in red, and we'll go into why that area is not hatched at a later point, but the area hatched in red is the location of the request for the gas station use.
Thank you. Describe, if you would, starting 10 years ago or so, the annexation history. How did this property become part of the city of Havre de Grace?
Yeah, the city of Havre de Grace embarked on annexing 3 properties at that time. One was the name Green, Ionello, Patron properties were the subject land. It was approximately 244 acres being annexed into the city. That annexation came along with several, well, several's an understatement, about 13 conditions that had to be met in the annexation resolution. One of those annexation resolution conditions spoke to the use of the properties, the 244 acres, and among other conditions required that any portion of the land that was not used as open space had to be divided with no more than a 2/3, 1/3 distribution of residential versus business uses. So in simplistic terms, if we had a portion of open space and we set that to the side, that's open space. The remaining land could be no more than a 2/3 use of residential, and then that would require the other 1/3 of the remaining land to be business uses. And that also would go in the opposite direction. If it was chosen to be 2/3 business, 1/3 would have to be residential.
And then as a planning tool, as a visual to accompany the annexation resolution, it required something called a single concept plan. Can you describe what that was?
That is correct. That was another condition of the annexation resolution 277, and that single concept plan was a precursor to any site plan that would be submitted to the city that proposed either a residential or a business use. That single concept plan was designed by our firm, and it was approved by the city in 2020. And that single concept plan for the 1/3 distribution of the business area encompassed this area that you see here hatched in red.
So if I can restate what I think you've said, the RB zoning allowed for residential and business. The single concept plan identified this area as a business portion of the RB.
Yes, it did.
And this application proposes what is a business use. Would you agree with that?
Yes, it is. Eric, if you would like, and I'm not sure, and I'd be happy to put a version of the single concept plan that was signed and adopted by the city up for your viewing, if you haven't seen that single concept plan.
I'm pretty sure everybody here is pretty familiar with that plan.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure.
With respect to conditional uses in the RB, how many by right uses exist within that zoning category?
By right in the RB zone are 28 named uses that are approved by right.
And how many different conditional uses exist within that code provision?
They are called out by alphabet, but as you count the numbers, there are 27 conditional uses in the RB zone.
What's the total acreage of the area that we're talking about?
Yeah, the hatched area that is the subject of the potential gas station uses is 23 acres.
How would you describe it physically? Wooded, unwooded, flat, hilly?
The area that is not hatched as a potential for the business use is environmental features and forest conservation area. So those are all outside of the proposed business use. That area that is outside of the natural resources, streams, non-tidal wetlands, and forest is currently a farm field. Generally flat. Part of the land sits a little bit topographically below Maryland Route 155, and as you project along and enter into Bully Rock Parkway, that land becomes more level with Bully Rock Parkway.
Is it unimproved?
It is currently unimproved.
Does the natural resource area that you described, does that serve as a buffer? What is the intention with that?
Yes, it's located on the eastmost portion and southmost portion of the parcel, and it is proposed to be protected. There is one location where public utilities would propose to cross through at the most narrow location of a stream that's located there, and that one portion of clearing would be necessary in order to bring public sewer and public water into this site.
And that's shown on the exhibit, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. On the opposite side of the buffer, what is on the other side? What's the adjoining property?
Yeah, so if we moved further east, that is a piece of land at the time of annexation was owned by the Green family, same owners as the parcel that we're looking at today. That is the location of the historic Scion Hill home, and it is located to the further east of this tract boundary. The actual structure is located approximately 520 feet further to the east than this site.
On the other side of the natural buffer area?
Correct.
Is any of this portion of property within the Chesapeake Bay critical area?
It is not.
Has there been a delineation of streams of wetlands on the property?
Yes, it has. One of the conditions of the planning and zoning staff at the time prior to any site plan submission, it was requested of the property owner to submit a delineation of all non-tidal wetlands and forests.
And similarly, has there been a forest stand delineation already approved for this property?
Yes, there was. Both a environmental features jurisdictional review by the Army Corps of Engineers was performed and approved, as well as a forest stand delineation.
Are there any rare or threatened or endangered species habitats on the property?
None that I am aware of.
And just thinking prospectively, would a user of the property, if this use were approved, still be required to protect any environmental features that may be there?
Yes, they would.
Does, in your professional opinion, the proposed use of a gas station as a conditional use align with the 2025 comprehensive plan for the city?
I believe it does, yes.
And explain to the board why.
Yes, the comprehensive plan speaks to this property as being Area 2 in the comprehensive plan, and it's labeled as the Green Ionella Patron area. The comprehensive plan map labeled comprehensive plan under Envision Havre de Grace comprehensive plan areas labels this specific parcel and this specific corner of Maryland Route 155 and Bully Rock Parkway as a developing area.
And in section 2 of that plan, does it also describe this area as, quote, the most pressing issue from a planning standpoint?
Yes, it does.
And does it recite that land use in this area is intended to be a mix of commercial and mixed residential uses?
Yes, it does.
And does it specifically refer to this subject parcel as a developing area?
Yes, both the comprehensive plan map as well as the plan areas both speak to it as developing.
And it calls it a gateway.
Yes.
Does it indicate that the gateway is intended to serve appropriately cited commercial uses as well as limited highway needs?
Yes, it does.
And does it indicate that that's not only for residential but also for transient in nature visitors?
Yes.
Will the property be served by public utilities?
Yes, it will. Both public water, public sewer, and electric.
And if a gas station were located there as a conditional use, would it be required to comply with the city's adequate public facilities law?
Yes, it would.
Would you agree with me that the city's master plan specifically provides that in the area of 155 and 95, land use policy is intended to, quote, serve travelers and the region?
Yes, it does.
So that's not just serving the city, correct?
Correct.
Are there development standards that a gas station must meet or exceed once an actual site plan for such use is actually proposed and submitted?
Yes, there will be. That would, and that's all outlined in the city code. By my estimation, this plan will have to adhere to approximately 11 specific sections of the city code in order to even be submitted.
And I won't attempt to be you as the expert, but do they address things like setbacks, parking, and similar requirements?
Yes, they do. I could go through adequate public facilities is very significant.
But all of that will be subject to the Planning Commission's review and approval, correct?
That is correct. And city staff.
And so when you say city staff, there will be additional review by the Department of Planning, the Department of Public Works?
Yes.
And do those further reviews after this board include considerations of things like traffic and lighting and architecture and landscaping and noise and all of those things?
Yes, they will.
Is any of that the subject of tonight's application?
That is not.
And does anything about tonight's application seek any variance or relief from any of those future requirements?
This plan will not. It does not ask.
In the course of submitting this application, did you consider the impact of a gas station on the surrounding properties?
Yes, we have.
And in your professional opinion, are there any facts or circumstances that show that a gas station at this particular location would have any effect on the surrounding properties that is greater than those inherently associated with gas stations, generally speaking?
No, it would not.
That's,
And you recognize that statement as the legal standard in Maryland for a conditional use, correct?
That is, and what you were speaking to is this location versus this gas station at any other location.
Would you say that it's fair to describe this property as being located at the corner of a commercial corridor?
Yes, it is.
And you'd agree that it's adjacent to Route 155, which is a major transportation route.
It is immediately adjacent and is, from a traffic standpoint, is controlled by an existing traffic light.
Would a gas station use at this location be counter to the scope of the code regarding access to convenient public services intended to serve residential areas?
It's very conducive to traffic, water, sewer. Yes, it's a conducive use.
And the same with respect to commercial uses compatible with nearby residential neighborhoods?
Yes.
What potential objectionable impacts were considered as part of the site?
The obvious potential is for a gas station to leak fuel. Both the Maryland Department of the Environment and the United States Environmental Protection Agencies all go to great length to outline means and methods of protecting the environment, protecting public safety and the public health from any potential leaks. The Maryland Department of the Environment has significant guidelines in COMAR that outline all the requirements in their code. That's in Title 26 of the Department of the Environment, and it has 18 subsections that any gas station use at this location would have to adhere to in order to be permitted to operate a gas station at this use.
And is there anything about all of those requirements that would be different or less applicable to a gas station use at this particular location than any other gas station use, generally speaking, in the RB zone?
No, it would be applicable to all locations.
So any proposed site for an actual gas station use would have to comply with those things prospectively, correct?
Yes, it would.
All right. In the course of submitting this application, did you consider the makeup of the neighborhood?
Well, the makeup of the neighborhood of the single concept plan properties, yes. At the time of the planning for the single concept plan, the planning effort in that was to try to focus the business, the more intense traffic, the more intense traveled, and the most convenient to I-95 as the business area, rather than pushing that area further back, relatively located to Scenic Manor or the paddocks on the other side of Bully Rock Parkway. And this location, as shown on the plan, was divided from those existing residential subdivisions, as well as the ongoing subdivision that was subdivided off of the Green property and the Legacies project by the environmental feature that's located to the east of this proposed use.
Would you agree that at present, all of that is undeveloped? This is a developing community, correct?
Yes, it is.
And in your professional opinion, are there any facts or circumstances that would show that a gas station at this particular location would have any effect on this newly developing neighborhood that is any greater than those inherent to this particular use in the RB zone?
No, I think the newly developing areas would be perfect users and the convenient use of a gas station at this location.
In the course of the application and preparing it and preparing your exhibit, did you consider the impact of a gas station on the public welfare? That's something that's specifically in the code.
Yes.
And how will a gas station contribute to the general welfare of the residents?
The public welfare to the residents, to visitors to Havre de Grace, and to travelers that run by Havre de Grace on Interstate 95, all of which would be benefited by a gas station at this location. I-95, Maryland Route 155 are both highway and interstate highways. They are destination-oriented travel ways. One of the necessary items for traveling those destination highways is fuel.
Would it provide essential fuel and convenience services and support that daily transportation, in other words?
Yes, it would.
And would it, in doing that, would it contribute to economic activity?
Yes, it would.
And in your opinion, would it have any effect on the public welfare that is any different in a negative way than this use would have elsewhere in the RB zone?
No.
And would it provide that public benefit equally to people, whether they're visitors or workers or residents of the city?
It's an equal benefit. Visitors, you know, if you live in the city and you have folks coming from out of town or have visited you and are leaving to go back home, it's a perfect location for them to fuel and be on their way.
Is public water and sewer service ultimately planned for this site?
Yes, it is.
And will the use of the site, I apologize, I think I've asked this already, it must comply with APFO?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yes.
How, if at all, would a gas station use at this site affect the MET easement area? And can you explain to the board where that is?
Sure. The MET easement area is further to the east than the adjoining property to this subject parcel. The MET easement is located approximately 900 feet further to the east along Maryland Route 155 from the subject property. And visually is obstructed by existing forest.
And in the course of submitting this application to the plan, did you consider that environmental factor?
Yeah, this plan, from the planning standpoint, all the way back on the single concept plan, the business area terminated at the eastmost location of this parcel for that specific reason.
How does the project consider, if at all, the preservation of cultural and historic landmarks?
Yeah, there are two significant historic landmarks, the Scion Hill property and the Mount Felix property. Both structures are, as I mentioned, further to the east. The Scion Hill home is approximately 540 feet to the east, and it is visually screened by existing forest from this project. I would also note that the Scion Hill home has a clear and unobstructed view, with the front face of the home does face to the east and looks out over the Chesapeake Bay, with the rear of the home facing back towards this subject parcel. And then the Mount Felix property is approximately 1,000 feet away, further to the east, and also has the benefit of that same forest visual screen.
So for my ears, is that to say that the view shed from Scion Hill is toward the bay, the view shed on any uses on this property wouldn't obstruct that, and in fact might be, quote unquote, looking the other way?
That is correct.
Have you examined other interchanges with Interstate 95 within Harford County?
Yes, I'm familiar with all of them.
And what are your observations about which of those interchanges have gas stations nearby?
Every intersection with a state road that intersects with I-95 has a gas station.
I'm showing you an exhibit that has been marked, blue markers that appear to indicate the location of gas stations up and down the I-95 corridor in Harford County. Do you recognize that?
That's certainly Harford County and certainly I-95, yes.
Is it your understanding that that mapping information comes from publicly available mapping information?
Yes.
And does it fairly and accurately represent your understanding of where nearby gas stations are?
Yes, it does.
And what is your observation about the area marked green property in the top center of that relative to where those gas stations are located?
Yeah, the green property tag is the location of the red hatched area that we are proposing for a potential gas station use. across the Susquehanna River over on the Perryville side is the nearest gas station towards the north or east. And to the south, that interchange is down near Maryland Route 22 that has several gas stations noted there.
So to be blunt, at this interchange, there are none.
There are none.
But would you agree with me that there's traffic at that intersection?
Yes, Maryland Route 155 carries by Maryland State Highway Administration counts anywhere between 14 and 18,000 trips per day. I-95 carries anywhere, depending upon which segment that you tend to look at, would carry anywhere between 90 and 150,000 trips per day through Harford County.
Is that information available from the Maryland Department of Transportation's annual average daily traffic data?
Yes, it is.
And would you agree as a general matter that the volume of vehicular transportation can be a measure of the potential demand for a gas station because it reflects the number of vehicles and potential need for gas?
Certainly does.
In the course of seeking other approvals for the Green family, did you receive traffic study materials from a company called the Traffic Group?
Yes, or Traffic Concepts.
Traffic Concepts, I'm
Yes.
sorry. And was Traffic Concepts required to provide that information to the city?
Yes, they were, and that was related to two projects that we have actively worked on. One was named Scion Hill Estates, and the other being the Legacies.
And I know that those are really voluminous reports, so I'm simply asking, did it contain projections about future transportation needs in this specific area?
Yes, it does.
And the projected number of trips on the roads that are proximate to this site in the future, are they planned to increase or to decrease?
Yeah, so the studies that were performed had to project normal growth rates for traffic from the point of time at which they were conducted. And then any future traffic studies, such as any business uses located here, should they trigger a traffic study, would have to consider current trips, existing preliminary plans that are approved through the city that would have to be counted into this traffic count. And it would have to count the trips that are generated by the use at this location. And then again, also would have to count projected increases up into the future based on a 3-year count for future traffic.
Would you agree as a general matter that the number of homes within a specific area can be a measure of the potential demand for a gas station because it reflects a number of drivers and vehicles with a potential need for gas?
Yes, it would.
And the number of homes being constructed in the residential developments adjacent to the Green property within the single concept plan, is the number of homes planned to increase or decrease?
There are several preliminary plans that are approved. I know the Bully Rock subdivision has many undeveloped lots, but the trip counts have been accounted for. The Legacies has not begun its construction at this time, but it would generate the trips that were expected on the traffic study. And should any other subdivisions come through, that travel on Bully Rock Parkway, they would have to be considered.
Is it your opinion then that a gas station use at this location would fulfill a need in the area?
Yes, it would.
In your professional opinion, are there any facts or circumstances that show that a gas station at this particular location would have any effect that's greater than those inherently associated with gas station uses, generally speaking?
I do not. I don't find this to be any more of a impact here than any other location.
Does the application submitted by the Green family otherwise comply with the code?
Yes, it does.
And have you read and considered the analysis from the Department of Planning of the city?
Yes, I have.
And do you agree with that analysis and its reasoning and conclusions recommending approval of this application?
Yes, I do.
And would you recommend to this board that it support a motion to approve the application for a gas station use in this section of the RB zone?
Yes, I would.
And will you remain available to this board for questions if there are any?
Certainly will, yes.
That's our presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Later, you'll have an opportunity. Questions?
A couple of clarifications. One, you mentioned that 155 was an interstate highway. I'm not sure where that came from. It's definitely not.
State highway.
Okay.
I mentioned 2 highways during my testimony. Interstate is I-95, and 155 is a state highway.
I stand corrected on that. And you've also many times over the course of that rather lengthy presentation mentioned that 155 was a major commercial route. You realize there's not a single commercial business that front 155, unless you count the ambulance company. There's none. It is a rural residential road that leads into a small town. Yes, it does connect to an interstate highway, but calling that a major commercial road is a little disingenuous. And I understand the goal, but I'm not sure if you're as familiar with the area as you say that you are, and I have no reason to believe that you aren't, that characterization seems a little elevated. And if you've been on this project for 10 years, you said a decade, so you were here through the entire original single concept plan pitch. Why now? Why not back when they were putting the single concept plan together, didn't someone come forward and go, we want to present a commercial area and put a travel plaza here? My gut tells me it's because you were going to try to, or somebody was going to try to sell single family homes, and it would be very difficult to put $500,000 and $600,000 single family homes in an area and then drop a travel plaza next to it if they knew it was going to be there.
May I respond?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'll take responsibility for having referred to 155 as a commercial road. Those were my words and not the witness's words. And I'll represent to you that I took those words from things like the land use plan. It's not me placing a technical label, and if it's helpful to the record, I will clarify my understanding that it's simply a state road, and that using the word commercial isn't intended by me to imbue it with any qualities beyond what it has.
Understood, okay. But you're an attorney, you realize as well as I do that words mean things.
They do.
And that when you attach that label to it, someone that doesn't know the area is going to hear it differently than someone who lives there.
Understood.
Okay.
Thank you. And you're correct. My role is to advocate, and so I am mindful of the words that I use. In that regard, I'm also mindful of the testimony that the expert provided about
right, but the expert also provided testimony that the gas station wouldn't be subjected to anything that a gas station built in any other place would have. Yeah. I guess it's a good thing you're not trying to build a nuclear reactor there, because it would fall under that exact same criteria.
So I'm still going to respond to both of the things that you said. Sure. One of the questions you had was why now? And your observation is that there was no discussion of this back when the single concept plan was created.
And I believe that was intentional.
The testimony was that's not accurate. The testimony was that this was deliberately reserved as commercial space.
It was deliberately, the reason it is zoned the way it is zoned was not, you wouldn't have to get an exception to build what you want to build if that was part of the original plan.
Yeah, I disagree with that, because the zone allows for conditional uses. We're not asking to rezone.
Sure, but you could have had it zoned commercial to begin with, and you wouldn't have had to go through this.
These are permitted uses. These are
They're
conditional
permitted uses with permission. That's why you're here tonight. Right. But if you were 10 years ago, this was your goal, why wouldn't you just go through the effort of doing it right then and not have to go through it now? To someone, maybe I'm just a layman, it does appear that now that you've got the homes in and the neighborhoods ensconced and everything going on there, now's the time to put the camel's nose under the tent flap.
And I'll just refer back to the testimony, which was that the 2/3, 1/3 requirement exists in the single concept plan. It's not something that we've
Sure.
created, it's something we're abiding by.
But there's a bunch of businesses, business types that could go in there that would not have to do what you gentlemen are doing here tonight.
Right, there are 27 that have to and 28 that don't have to. So,
They're
all of
not
those-
here, you are.
All of those
So-
are fair game, and
Okay,
and
roger
they will
that.
be. So I want to address the last thing you mentioned, which is the no greater impact at this location versus any other location. And the reason I'm using those words is because that's the legal standard. That's what the law says we have to demonstrate to you, and the testimony is that that's accurate so far. The law wouldn't apply that to a nuclear reactor because a nuclear reactor is neither a permitted use, nor a conditional use, nor a temporary use.
Okay, I'm,
We're applying the standard that's required of a conditional use in a conditional use application. That's why we're using those words.
I was trying to create an absurd situation to illustrate why saying building this is no different than building it somewhere else.
That's correct.
I think we all understand that. I don't think we really needed to be told that for some reason, building it in this exact spot would require additional hoop jumping that building it one intersection down wouldn't do. I get it.
Okay, and I certainly don't mean to offend you by using the standard or relying on it. We're repeating it because if I didn't, there's someone in the room that would observe that too.
Okay.
So
Roger
we're
that.
gonna meet the standard, and I believe that the testimony's done that. But I responded. If there are things that you need to hear from the witness, he's
No,
available to you as well.
no, you covered everything that I had.
Any other questions for them?
No, I believe.
Okay. Other questions?
I had a note here, you said there's 23 acres that are usable. How much is that whole parcel?
Mr. Enzer, can you speak to the parcel?
Yes. Parcel 210 is approximately 34.7 acres in total.
So just almost 35 total, but usable for development, et cetera. That's the red area, that's 23.
That is correct.
And the remainder is left alone, correct?
The remainder is left alone, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I do, in that usable area also includes the areas that would be reserved for items such as stormwater management, water quality devices that have to treat for water quality of the runoff that would come off of this property, whether it be a permitted use or a conditional use. There are significant areas that will be reserved and put aside for putting in stormwater management devices, buffering, any kind of sustainable landscaping that's required. That's all part of what would come should this use get approved and should a site plan be presented to the town for a use.
All that would come out of the 23 acres
Yes.
talked of, okay. Thank you.
Mr. Powell?
I just have one. Of that 23 acres, do you have a ballpark idea of what your net acreage will be that you can actually develop, put a building on? Because the hotel's going to be shared here as well, right?
Any one of the 28 permitted uses aren't being requested today because they are requested. The one use in front of you right now, the gas station use, could be positioned. It would most likely, because of the desired locations for a gas station, would be approximately at the corner of Bully Rock Parkway and Maryland 155, but it's not specifically reserved for that location because the tenant and the user may have different ideas.
Okay.
Okay, so for my clarification, there's no specific portion of the property that you're proposing at this point for the gas station. Is that correct?
For the property, the hatched red area.
Yes.
Yes.
But-
And the reason for that, it's not to be hiding anything, but there are certain uses such as grocery stores that also have gas stations that use their facilities. I know ShopRite, for instance, has several grocery stores in Harford County. They also have a gas station in the town of Bel Air. Other users such as, for instance, like the BJ's down in Abington, has a gas station, has a fuel location at their store. We didn't want to have to come back before you if we isolated just one little corner, and then have to come back before the board. Say we use the corner of Bully Rock Parkway and 155, and then we had a grocery store that wanted to have a few gas terminals at their grocery store. We didn't want to have to come back before this board because we desired to move the location.
And the direct answer to your question is, yes, there is no specific site or specific user that is being proposed. It's simply requesting approval to allow the use on this property.
Or size or number of pumps, anything like that?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
All of which is subject to subsequent review.
Okay, thank you. Other questions?
One more question, because everyone says gas station. I imagine it would be similar to what we see out there, what they call a C-store. Convenience store, gas station, the typical.
I'll say that that's likely. Again, there is no specific user in mind. I'll also say that we've spent a lot of time talking about gas, but most of that product nowadays includes electric charging stations and things like that that are far more friendly to the environment. So yes, the answer is yes. What the use is defined as in the code is the limit of what it is that the property owner or the end user to whom they lease or sell or what they do would be limited.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? All right, thank you. Next, we'd like to hear from the Department of Planning.
Hello, Chairman, Board, members of the public, applicant. Thank you for coming out today. As previously stated by the Chairman, the staff report is available online on the city website under today's date on the calendar. It's in a PDF format. Each new item of business has its own staff report under it that it's available for you to follow along. Since the staff report is already incorporated and adopted by reference by the applicant and addresses all the items specified therein, the Department of Planning is going to offer their recommendation. As, quote, the Department of Planning has examined the appropriateness of the applicant's request and per section 25-16E of the City Code, recommends approval for the conditional use request for a gas station on the subject property located at the intersection of Bully Rock Parkway and Level Road. Again, that is the entire parcel of the property, the 30-some acres, for the reasons found in the above analysis of the staff report. Furthermore, the Department of Planning offers no additional conditions per the 2516E of the City Code beyond which are already applicable to comply with any state law, ordinances, or regulations of the city, or where necessary to protect adjacent properties, the general neighborhood, and residents, workers, and visitors therein. That being said, the Board of Appeals is here reviewing the use request by the applicant, and subsequent site plan review by the Planning Commission will follow. I'm available if you have any questions regarding the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Next, we'll hear from the public. We'll start on my left, which is this side. Anyone that has been sworn in that wants to speak, come up. Please state your name and address.
My name is Edward Crowder. I live at 131 Lapidum. Since this is the first time I've heard about this or seen it, I do have several questions. 23 acres seems like a large plot for a gas station, so I'd be curious to see how many pumps and what number of those would be expected to be trucks. That would be something that would be very critical. It is a very, as we all know, 155 has a small intersection on the 95, and if we're going to have trucks and travel, as was stated in the record, would we have to have something improved on the intersection, such as we have down in Aberdeen? Would it have to become 4 lanes? Would we have to tear down houses? Would we have to do other things such to improve the area and thus destroy what it is now? Would we have to, how do we mitigate the sound? Right now, the applicant said that it would be the same as having a gas station anywhere else, but we're all very much aware that there's nothing there now. It's a cow pasture. So what is the difference in sound and traffic versus a cow pasture? That seems like a more relevant question than the difference of whether or not it's a gas station here or versus somewhere else. And also, if there is gas stations on every intersection off of 95, why is it necessary to have it on this one as well? If there's one just across the bridge on Perryville, and there's one 3 miles down the road in Aberdeen, I don't know anyone who can't go 3 miles to get gasoline. And if they want to put a gas station in, there's a perfectly good place in between the BP and Wise. It's already zoned. They could put a gas station there. I'm sure I will come up with other questions, but my main question is this going to be a gas station or a travel plaza such that we will have something like trucks coming in and out all day long, parking along the road, and generally being a truck stop? That doesn't sound like something we want in a cow pasture. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you.
Chance to respond if we want.
We'll get, anyone else on this side want to speak? No? Okay. Please come forward. State your name and address.
Good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Jamie Kendrick, 203 Secretariat Drive in Bully Rock. Can I ask a point of procedure first of all?
Yes.
Cross-examination. Do you do that now as part of my questions and testimony, or would you rather do that later?
Yes, we'll do it now.
Okay. Could I recall the witness then, please?
Yeah.
Sure.
While the gentleman's coming up, by way of background and expertise, I'm a AICP, American Institute of Certified Planners. I have been working in this industry, this field, for 25 years. Probably reviewed better than 300 traffic impact studies, including many by Traffic Concepts and Traffic Group and others. I completed comprehensive plans for 5 jurisdictions within 10 miles of here, including rewriting the zoning code for 2 of them. So with that, I would ask, to, if not formally, at least to have the weight of your consideration, take that as expertise for this purpose. And if I may also ask procedurally, given that we have another hearing on another case that's substantially similar here, if I just ask kind of the leeway of the board to kind of cover things for both in the interest of your time.
No, I'm sorry. We're going to have to wait for the next hearing for that.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem. So I want to, is it Enzer?
Yes, E-N-S-O-R.
Great, so thank you. So you're aware that the burden of proof in these cases is on the applicant, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in getting to that burden of proof, this board is required to issue 10 findings of fact. Is that your understanding?
Yes, I believe they're outlined in the staff
Okay.
report.
So I'd like to spend a few minutes kind of going through those to just kind of examine the record, if I may. And I beg the indulgence of the chair while our internet service is not doing so phenomenally right now. So let's start with the requirement that, or the finding of fact with regard to the appropriateness of the use in the and I will agree. I'm sorry. Let me back up, Mr. Chairman. You indicated that you've made several technical studies. I'll generally refer to them as due diligence studies on behalf of the Green family. Is that correct?
Yes, we've conducted studies such as the environmental features, forest. As far as the residential uses, we've consulted with home builders for desired product sizes. Yes.
Okay, and other than the environmental features and the property ownership, have you entered have you or your client entered any of those other due diligence studies into the record?
No.
Okay, thank you.
What has been in?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'd ask that the witness be allowed to finish his answer.
It was a yes or no question, sir.
Yes.
Fine. Have they been entered into the record?
For the record, what has been entered is a jurisdictional delineation approval by the Army Corps of Engineers, forest stand delineation. Unaware if they have been submitted into the city that the Green family has conducted on the property.
So, for example, the traffic concept study that you referenced, you're not aware that it's been entered into the record?
That has been entered into the record, not by my firm, though. That has
Into
been,
the record in this hearing?
not for this hearing, but they have been submitted to the city as part of the site plan approval process.
Sure. So, with regard to the traffic concept study that you referred to, was that specific to this proposed use, or was that general with regard to the overall single concept plan? And what was the date of performance and the date of the traffic counts on that study?
Okay, the single concept plan did not require a traffic study. It was a condition of the annexation resolution prior, and that was required to be submitted, reviewed, and approved prior to any site plan submission. Upon having the single concept plan, any landowner who chose to proceed with a site plan submission into the city had to then meet the 11 or 12 city code sections required in order to submit a site plan. So those traffic studies, as part of a site plan submission, which this is not a site plan submission review, it is a Board of Appeals for a use, those traffic concepts, traffic studies were submitted as part of a site plan use specific to the portion of the property that was the subject of the subdivision.
Okay, so just to be clear, as to this specific site slash use, this specific parcel on which the gas station is proposed, has a traffic impact study specifically been completed per state highway guidelines, meaning within the past 3 years, an approved background rate, et cetera?
No, because a use is not permitted unless this board determines and offers an approval of a gas station use.
Understood.
And
So
then
I
the
would say-
size and scope of that gas station would be the subject of a site plan submission at a later date.
Understood. And would you agree that there's a bit of a chicken and egg in the whole planning process here, that I've been in many of these where, you know, it's too early to provide answers until it becomes too late when you get to planning commission?
I disagree wholeheartedly.
Okay, that's fine. So just finishing up then on the traffic study. So to your knowledge, there's been no site-specific traffic study, but that you testified to some very specific numbers as to background rates and ADT and the like. So can you tell us what the background rate was for this site in that traffic study?
No, because there's been no specific traffic study for this site. For this proposed
But you
use.
represented to the board that there was a traffic study that spoke to the single, I'll say the single concept plan, right? The extent of the entire development.
No,
Okay.
there
What
was no traffic
What was the
study.
basis of the traffic impact study?
The traffic studies were specific to the site plans that were submitted for each subdivision that were part of these single concept plan project.
Okay, so then as to this site, this subdivided site, right, you testified that there would be no adverse traffic impact, to summarize. Is that correct?
I did not.
You did not. Let me ask you this then. In your professional opinion, would there be an adverse traffic impact from a gas station of comparable size, say, to the Royal Farm down the hill?
I'm going to object to that type of question because this witness wasn't identified or asked to testify about expert transportation.
Mr. Chairman, he was admitted as an expert and testified as an expert as to transportation issues.
Well, then, my objection is that a traffic study is not a requirement of a conditional use approval, and we haven't offered that in our case.
Mr. Chairman, I would say that that actually proves the point.
If you've got anything to say, go ahead.
That actually proves the point that you can't testify, or you can't have a finding of fact that indeed there is no traffic impact if you haven't submitted a traffic study, and the fact that it's too early to submit a traffic study isn't the fault of the opponents. In order to make the burden of proof being on you, in order to make the case, there would at this point be a traffic impact study. Whether or not that's the practice of the board or the city in that regard.
Well, it appears that what we've uncovered here is that there's really been no traffic study for this particular
move on.
parcel. So let's move on. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
In the work of your, to date on this project, formally, informally, sketch plan level, conversations with potential tenants and users, has there been a site plan developed?
There have been multiple site plans developed, not only by our firm, but by other firms in the past, more as just a marketing tool for the purpose of, one, determining how much usable area may be located on the property, and then two, what type of public utilities might have to be extended to the property in order to service it.
So one of the findings of fact that this board is asked to make has to do with has to do with the appropriateness of the size, scale, et cetera, of the structure, of the new structure. That's the code language, the new structure. I can read it to you if you'd like. So in the course of your work to date, has a massing plan been assembled? Has a kind of site layout been assembled? Site access points been assembled? In your work, informally or formally, as your marketing tool or otherwise?
As far as accesses,
Now, as a general
as far
matter,
as massing,
massing,
no,
layout, no layout has been done?
no.
But that's okay, so we can't testify then, am I understanding correctly, that you cannot testify that the use specifically here being sought, I mean, if there's not been a massing plan, for example, with regard to the new structure, then how can you, what's the basis of your testimony that there would not be an adverse impact upon the character of the area or the historic properties to the east and south? So if there's not been a massing plan, for example, what's the basis of that argument?
Okay, if you're talking about a massing plan, and the area shown on the single concept plan as business, the derived area for the massing is a business area that was required by the single concept plan.
Okay, but I asked a different question. So as to the proposed use, right? One of the findings of fact the board is supposed to make is that the new structure, so presumably we know what the new structure is, right, would not have an adverse impact on surroundings.
That is one item that we take into consideration.
I also
Yep.
think that's a misquote of what this doesn't specify the building or a building.
We are here specifically tonight to approve a use, not a concept.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree, Mr. Chairman. However, the finding of fact, in fact, says that it is in the relationship of the new structure. That's the finding of fact that you're asked to make. Right? So even if we're not considering a royal farm that is, 38,000 square feet and 2 stories, right? In order to make the finding of fact, you have to know what it is, what the new structure is. That's not,
That-
kind of like the standard of,
Yes, that will be something that the board will take into consideration when we go into deliberation.
that's right. And so I
Okay.
was just asking the gentleman what his, what the basis of his statements was, that because we don't have a new structure to take a broad look at, just a massing plan. You know, we're talking 2 stories, 12 stories, we're talking 2 gas pumps, 20 gas pumps. What is the basis of your professional opinion that a new structure would not have an adverse impact on surrounding community?
Objection again, because he hasn't testified that a new structure would, he's testified that this adverse impact rate.
I do believe that's the correct answer. Yeah, he's not testifying to a structure, but we appreciate your question.
But the point, for the record,
Yes.
that you all have to consider is
We do.
the new structure. Okay. very
Correct.
good. Thank you. So then, let's come back to this commercial corridor that you mentioned. Actually, I'm sorry, let me withdraw that because it was council who used the term commercial corridor. So I'll let that be for a second. So, in the application, Article 2516, Section B, it requires that in the application, there's a statement explaining in detail how the special exception is to be operated, including the hours of operation, number of anticipated employees, occupants and clientele, equipment involved, and any special conditions or limitations which the petitioner proposes for adoption by the board. And I'll stipulate that you've not proposed any conditions nor staff. But have any of those other items been provided? I'll go through them if you want. The hours of operation for the use, have those been provided as required by the application process?
Hours of operation for the use, the user hasn't been identified.
Okay, so then you're
They're not
testifying then that-
approved for that
you're
use
testifying, just to
until
be
this
clear.
board.
Just to be clear, the code, the city code, 2516A, says that the applicant shall explain in detail how the special exception is to be operated. The hours of operation, number of anticipated employees, occupants and clientele, equipment involved. So has, pursuant to 2516A, B, to your knowledge, has the applicant identified the number of employees that might be at this location?
Okay, for the record, where are you getting this information?
I'm reading from the city code, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Article 2516 A and B? B.
Yeah, I just wanted for the record.
Yep, very good.
Just to maybe get through this a little bit less painfully, we have established that they have no idea who the tenant is going to be. So it will be impossible for hours of operation, number of employees.
Oh,
It could be a one pump mom and pop
I
gas
completely agree.
station, it could be a Buc-ee's.
I completely agree. The point is to establish in the legal record here that, so that when the board, if the board makes findings of fact, they can indeed base them upon something.
Okay.
At this point, my sense is that there's no something to base those findings of fact on. A couple more and I'll be done, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. Thank you for your indulgence. As to condition number 3 in the code, that the use will not be detrimental to the peaceful enjoyment, et cetera, of surrounding properties. You're aware that, and I think you indicated that the properties across the street are on well water in Susquehanna Hills area, is that right?
Yes, they are.
That's correct, yeah.
And have you done any filtration studies, hydrology studies at this point to understand how that relationship might occur? Were there leaks?
We have not.
Okay, very good. So then, as the board goes to make its finding of fact, if the board were to be concerned that, there may be fuel leaks, let's say, as is often the case in gas stations, then they would not have anything to base that finding of fact on. Is that correct?
What I mentioned in my testimony was that gas station uses are highly regulated
Stipulate to that.
by Comar and by the Environmental Protection Agency.
But as to this use,
A gas station use, yes.
but as to this use, nothing provided to the board. It was, by the way, it was condition number 4, spoke to the design, scale, bulk of any proposed new structure. We could talk about need, I won't go into that. Then just very briefly by way of testimony, Mr. Chairman, and I'll be done and won't even go to the hotel, because I think we covered this one pretty good.
Okay.
You know, as best I can tell from the testimony, there's no specific site plan. One can debate whether or not a specific site plan, what its contents might be, is required. One can debate that. However, you can't get there, I mean, you can't get to some of the findings of fact unless you have some form of a site plan to speak to, for example, condition number 4, right? I realize there's a whole chicken and egg here, and that's not your fault.
It's not, and again, yes, that's not what we're here to decide tonight.
Well, except you are, because that's one of the conditions or findings of fact that you have to make.
Well, that's some of the items that we will base our decision
Yes,
on.
yes.
Okay?
Okay, very
All
good.
right.
So, just in summary, the fact of the matter is, the board does not have in its possession, entered into the record, any of the studies, even if you believe they are premature, that will allow the board to make the findings of fact that you are affirmatively required to make. And so, in all sincerity, I would say to the board, I would say to the applicant, you know, it doesn't give me any pleasure to come in as a land use planner and speak out of concern on the project, right? I thought a lot about whether to be here. I would offer that perhaps the board, or maybe the applicant would stipulate to hold this matter over, to have a conversation with some community folks, see what conditions, issues might be addressed, and come back in 30 days. That's certainly within the board's right to do. But until we have any of those site plans or any level of detail, you know, is it 2 pumps or 12 pumps or 20 pumps? I don't see how you can make those findings a fact. So appreciate your time. And
Thank you. Appreciate your
Thank you.
testimony, or your questions. Who else would like to speak? Just, please.
Just make sure it's a cross-examined question, no statements.
Right.
Statements come later.
Aye.
My name's Randy Lieber. I live at 909 Leslie Road.
Yes.
I have an objection here that half the neighborhood signed. I'd like to present it if I could somehow on the record. And I have a copy for each one of the things we're going to discuss tonight if I need to do it 3 times. So what do I do?
Okay, you can,
I can give you guys a copy to look at too. It's one of them on file if I'm going to do it 3 times. Though.
yes, you can give us a copy.
This is the original here.
Okay, thank you.
Is that his petition?
Yeah.
Petition's not allowed. It's April. Because you can't cross-examine a petition. I'm waiting for him to stand up and say it. Ask April.
I didn't realize it was going to be broken up into 3 segments for each one of the issues this evening. But
Excuse me, before we, before you get started, can we accept a petition of objection?
Yes, you can accept it as an exhibit to the proceedings, and then you can decide what weight to give it in your deliberation.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
okay, would you like me to go over at least the highlights of it? Just to
Yes.
Get on. Okay. Basically, it's a objection to the conditional use application for BOA case 5, 6, and 7.
Okay?
At first, it's in. I can just ask him 3 questions real quick.
That's fine. Yes, you can.
That's why I stayed.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Any impact studies on the Susquehanna River Hills neighborhood?
No, not at this time.
How many neighbors or how many people do you estimate are in that neighborhood?
I would have to estimate probably 70 to 90 homes,
Probably over 100.
approximately.
And for the record, the area they're talking about is 1/3 of our neighborhood, is what they want to develop. How far away is Susquehanna Hills from that You know?
It's on the opposite side of Maryland Route 155.
So a
I would,
rock to the nearest house.
I would say as a tract boundary standpoint, probably 120 feet,
Yeah, you can go a
130
rock
feet.
to the nearest house. Okay, anyway, that's how close it is to our neighborhood. It's right across the highway, is what I'm getting at. This is pretty technical. I'm not a lawyer. I just did my best, okay? It references all the stuff in the 2517B as far as how the standing is. 2517B, failure to protect the peaceful enjoyment and value is one highlight. Lack of harmony with neighborhood character, 2517B4. Adverse effect on health, safety, and welfare, 2517B6. Public safety and security, 2517B6 also. The combined impact of the hotel and the gas station, 2517B3, 4, and 6. Groundwater and well contamination risk, 2517B3 and 6. Construction impacts access and highway alterations, 2517B3 and 6. Failure to impose protective conditions, 2516E. Cumulative and coordinated impact efficiency, 2517B. Procedural omission of the adjacent neighborhood, Susquehanna Hills, from the whole thing. It's not even mentioned until the gentleman brought it up to his attention just now. Comprehensive plan consistency and the relief requested, and we want a preservation of appeal rights in case we got to go the judicial route. And then I had one person per house sign this representing 3 to 6 people per house. And that's just on the 3 main streets right there on that corner. And that's pretty much what the petition covers. And all the reasoning below each header. Anyway, our community was first built in 1962, about 60 years ago. And it's always been a quiet, single-family neighborhood surrounded by open land and a small family farm, the Greens. And for over half a century, there's never been a gas station, hotel, or any commercial development in direct view of our homes. That long-established residential character is what 2517B4 and 20526 of the city code are meant to preserve. Our homes, with many bedrooms facing the highway there, Route 155, already endure heavy nighttime traffic, daytime traffic, etc. Not just because it's a quarter. If 95 or 40 or something happens, it gets extra heavy up there because they're going the other way. And then we got Vulcan coming up and down the highway all day long, and it's already there. This is going to entail, it's going to multiply those impacts with more lights, vehicles, transient traffic, just a few dozen yards from our homes. There's no fences between some of them houses and the highway, and they can just walk, anybody can just walk right over to our neighborhood, literally. Every house in Susquehanna, our homes, yeah, okay. Every house in Susquehanna Hills relies on a private well. Leakage or seepage from underground fuel tanks or surface runoff could contaminate the groundwater beneath the site. The staff reports never analyze the risk or describe any containment measures, except that it's going to be covered by the EPA. Just down the street on the corner there, what was that street? Maryland? There was a gas station. It leaked. What happened to all those houses? It does happen, and it does happen often. I think the board must find under 2517B that this use will not harm health, safety, or peaceful enjoyment of nearby residents. The evidence does not support that finding. There's no meaningful buffer or elevation separation protecting our neighborhood. 6 decades, this corridor has served as a green residential gateway to the city, allowing a high-intensity gas station, hotel, and utility station in one location would fundamentally alter that character, violate the zoning intent of maintaining compatible neighborhood services. For these reasons, and outlined in our joint neighborhood petition of objection, we ask the board to deny or defer approval until independent studies on traffic, noise, groundwater risks are completed and protective conditions are imposed. Additionally, there are about a dozen gas stations in a 5-mile radius of here. Why do we need one? Really? Right, that's all. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else would like to speak?
Hello, I am Jim Ringsocker, 420 Brian Garth. I speak today as a citizen and as a taxpayer, and not in any capacity as council president, and I do not speak for the city of Havre de Grace nor the mayor and city council. just speaking for myself. So AR 277 was passed like 10 years ago, and the single concept plan shortly thereafter. Every step of the way, that portion has been expected to be used. That's why it's zoned RB. It's supposed to be commercially developed. Our comprehensive plan for the city includes the commercial development of that intersection. I fear that not passing, not allowing the conditional use today or whenever you guys finally decide would equate an unlawful taking by the city and could open us up to litigation from the applicant. That said, also the petition, while I don't discount anything that everybody said, I definitely understand if you live there, you don't want stuff going in. They don't live in Havre de Grace. They're not within the city limits of Havre de Grace, and I think that diminishes the weight of the petition. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this side? Let's go to, I'm sorry? No, you've already spoken. Please, we have others that need to speak. Come on.
Hi, my name is Kira Lee Como. My husband and I live on 1003 Leslie Road. Before I begin what I wanted to address, the members of the public also wanted to bring up that there's also the Maryland House with fuel on 95 as well. So plenty of access for gas stations for travelers. I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. While I know you have been overwhelmed with backlash from the community, I thank you for taking the time to hear from us, the local passionate residents of Havre de Grace. We appreciate your dedication to preserving our town's beauty, history, and quality of life. Earlier this week, I emailed each of you a detailed letter that included well-supporting reasoning for not permitting the development. I've only received what appeared to be automated emails in response, so I'm not sure that you've read my email. In that case, I brought copies if you would like it, and I'm happy to hand them out to you. For brevity, the letter provided evidence-based research as to how this negatively affects the following. It includes local traffic, noise, environmental factors including our wells, overdevelopment, and the depreciation of our home's value. Unfortunately, tonight we don't have time to go into all of that as thoroughly, so I'm going to address the emotional side of this decision as residents of Havre de Grace. 3 years ago, my husband and I bought our house here in Havre de Grace, specifically Susquehanna Hills, which is adjacent to the proposed development. We made the decision to purchase here because of the beauty and ruralness of Havre de Grace. Personally, as somebody who grew up in downtown Bel Air, I've seen how the overdevelopment can drain the charm and beauty out of a town. To see the town where we chose to build our life and families slowly fall into the same pattern as the town that I grew up in is extremely disappointing, even considering us to relocate. However, I do thank you for taking the time to consider our feedback and stop the proposed implementation of the gas station and hotel near Susquehanna Hills. As a local, I still encourage you to listen to the community's concerns and reach out to me personally. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to raise a legal question on that.
Anyone else in the back?
No,
We have.
you're not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes.
To clarify it.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Chip Place, 301 Cigar Loop, Havre de Grace. I'm just going to echo some of the comments that are raised by Mr. Kendrick. I don't understand how you can properly evaluate the conditions that you have to make findings of fact on without a complete site plan. To try to evaluate a gas station by itself or a hotel by itself, you cannot go through those list of criteria for the quality of life, for the quality of the community, without understanding the full picture. This is piecemealing a development project. It's called segmentation. It should not be allowed to proceed that way. You have, I've seen you with some of your other applications, Lamson, for instance, where it was an application to reduce the lot sizes as a conditional use. You saw the full site plan for that. You had the full context, so you understood that perfectly. But you have to be able to do that in the same way here. It's not going to be just a hotel. It's not going to be just a gas station in all likelihood. It'll be a full commercial development. I think we've heard mention of grocery stores, other things. That's the context within which you have to evaluate the individual uses that are proposed. So I would respectfully suggest that you either deny this application or table it. There's no rush for this. Wait till you are presented with a full site plan application so you can properly evaluate the uses within the context of that site plan application. And two more quick things. One, I'll read from the comprehensive plan, chapter 2. It's called, one section is called Gateway to Havre de Grace, Getting It Right. And the last sentence in that says, overall sensitive, integrated design is a key to honoring the legacy, this land, and the remarkable beauty of this upper bay terrain. The concept plan itself talked about new urbanism design theories. How does this all fit together? How does this look in a comprehensive way? The RB zoning was provided. That's the densest zoning in Havre de Grace. That's the downtown zoning. Is this going to be a downtown or is it going to be a Buc-ee's? There's a big differences here in that. So wait till you see the whole picture before you make judgments on individual land uses. And then one area of technicality here, the historic references are made often. I will just refer you to the National Register of Historic Places registration form that was entered into the National Register by Patrick W. Andrus on April 30th, 1990. And it very clearly identifies not just Scion Hill Mansion as the historic place, it's the entire 310 acres of the Green family. So all of this is historic. All of this is a historic place. And I have a copy of that I'll provide to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak to the site plan versus Board of Appeals.
Well, when we're done with the public comments,
Okay.
The applicant will have a chance to respond to all
right.
of the comments.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yes. One other in the back here.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. And my name is Peter Ianello, 1900 Level Road, Havre de Grace, Maryland. I'd like to, on the drawing there, I'd like to thank Mr. Enser and Mr. Green. The last time we met with the Planning Committee, after that, on beginning of June, they were kind enough to invite me to Mr. Green's property to coordinate placement of a road. So I just want to say really grateful to both of them. And we look forward to when the easement is executed as well. So thank you both. The second question is on the plan. It says that there's a booster station being proposed. So I was just wondering if where the booster station was going to be, if it's on the plan or offsite.
The booster station is that will be the third conditional use that we're going to discuss tonight.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully not too much longer, but it will be discussed tonight, but not now.
Okay.
This one is
Thank
really
you.
only about, the gas station parcel.
I'll go back and come back up.
Okay, thank you. Any other, yes, please come forward.
I'm Gerald Jameson, 1101 Leslie Road. And I just had a question, and I understand that you shouldn't ask a question if you don't know the answer in front of people, but I heard it testified that there was a need for a gas station, and I counted in my hand 5 gas stations in downtown Havre de Grace, not including one in Cecil County just across the bridge, and the Maryland House in Aberdeen, and I wondered why there's a need for it. Because you can drive down 155 and run into 2 gas stations. It's not that far. So to say that it's a need, I didn't understand that. And I think I'll just end it that.
Okay, thank you. Please, come forward.
My name is Jim Orga. I live at 1250 Bully Rock Parkway. To echo some of the thoughts, the need for the gas station is something I definitely have to question. And I'm just a guy. I go to work and I come home off of 95 every day. And that might be the most poorly laid out traffic situation to get across. to add anything in terms of volume is a nightmare. It would be a nightmare. I almost see an accident every day, and that's I'm really not exaggerating. So that's mainly my thing. I don't feel like there's a need for really much of anything there. I know that that's probably not what some people want to hear, but the traffic, if there had to be improvements, where's that money coming from? I know what I pay in taxes, and I'm hoping it's not me paying for that as well.
Okay, thank you. This time, I think we're done with public comments. Would you like to speak to any of the comments that have been made?
Briefly, please. Mr. Enzer, you were about to make a comment about site plan requirements?
Yes, and in my role of submitting Board of Appeals requests and site plan approvals, I'd like to bring up to everyone's attention that I believe it was somewhere around the 2019-2020 timeframe that site plan approvals were required prior to a Board of Appeals approval. That you had to have a site plan approval to come to the Board of Appeals. That was changed by the Director of Planning and the city staff at that time, somewhere around 2019-2020, to require that you come to the Board of Appeals prior to any site plan submission. So that change that was, or the request of a site plan approval, was the condition that we, or the sequence that we had to offer in 2019-2020. That was changed. We have to have a Board of Appeals approval in order to get into the specifics of a site plan design for a specific use.
Well, we often do have site plan accompanying a commercial proposal.
Right.
Yes, I know that your submission to the planning department that was changed, but often we do get it. It's not a requirement.
Right.
Yes.
And I have seen a Board of Appeals approval that was offered earlier this year for a gas station use, and it was on a 1.4, 1.5 acre parcel. There were no other uses that could be proposed on that parcel. The gas station took up the entire parcel. The annexation resolution requires us to have 1/3 of our usable land outside of open space to be proposed as business uses. But that's not a condition that we created. It's a condition that we have to comply with.
Right. Yes, we understand. Yeah.
Sir, I think rather than ask questions of Mr. Enzer, I'll just comment on the things that I heard and observed.
That's fine,
And
yeah.
the first is, I think you've already acknowledged, there is no requirement that a traffic study be submitted for a conditional use approval or a massing plan or an access plan. And while I appreciate and understand the desire to inquire about those things, that's not this procedure. I also think it was pretty clear from the testimony, but I'm going to reiterate that Mr. Enzer's observations about traffic counts, past and future, weren't to discuss traffic engineering. They were designed to address need. and the idea that the transportation exists and it's going to increase. That was the reason why he commented on that, not because there's a need to submit a traffic study. And in fact, in the Board of Appeals case that Mr. Enzer just referenced, my recollection of that hearing is they came prepared with a traffic study in hand, ready to hand it to this board, and the board politely said, thank you, this is not the place, you'll have a need for that later. And we agree with that. The other thing that I'll mention is that, actually I do want to ask questions about this. Mr. Enzer, were you contacted recently by Mr. Green because he had been contacted by potential users of the property?
Yes, yes, I was.
Okay. And in your experience representing developers and property owners, is it common that a potential user of the property would reach out about its availability if they don't perceive a need? Or
I would find that highly irregular.
I just wanted that to come from Mr. Enzer. I mean, he sees that from developers. And another very important thing that he sees from developers is this. I understand why the community would be saying, please bring a site plan here. The process doesn't always involve the property owner, Mr. Green, his family, paying for the engineering and doing the design of the site plan, right? The other ones that have come before you recently had the actual purchaser, leaseor, user of the property submit the site plan. They incur the expense and the time associated with that. The only thing the Green family is asking for is permission to acknowledge that this use is proper on their property, so that if someone ultimately does decide to submit a site plan that requires those things, they'll be able to do it. And then just as a last point, I'd appreciate, counsel, can I get a copy of the petition at some point? I know it was submitted, and there's no rush for that. My final comment about the plan, because it was mentioned by Mr. Place when he commented on Gateway. The language for Gateway has this specific language. It describes that area as intended for, quote, limited highway needs and not be residential in nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's this. That's what we're asking for. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, the council will discuss the testimony, and we will arrive at a decision for the request. This is all the evidence that we will take to determine our decision.
rent the hotel as well, because Havre de Grace needs a place to stay. That's my personal.
Well,
But I'm not gonna let that base my opinion or my final decision on that.
Right.
That's my personal preference.
Need
I've lived
one,
here
I'd like it
68
to
years,
be,
well, you've been here 70 years.
I'd like it to be a groovy one downtown on the water, but
Yeah,
that's
well,
like,
that's,
yes,
You're dreaming.
yeah,
And quite frankly.
that's getting less, yes.
For anybody to come in and build something there, they've done.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't want
Trying to talk loud.
For anyone to come in and build these things, from a developer standpoint, they've done an extensive study to know that there's a need there for these particular establishments, whether it's a hotel. I mean, I can't believe somebody's gonna put a hotel there to start with, because past experience shows that nobody wanted to build one.
Right.
Which means that if it gets up there
But-
and fails, then you end up with
Well,
But you can't predict the future.
Yeah, that's,
You can't predict the future. It's not our job to predict the future.
And I don't think anybody will build it unless they,
and
Don't
we're
think
not
it'll
even
work.
supposed to be, that's, the hotel is, we're gonna talk about that one soon. Yeah, we are.
So let's stick this,
we are
all right, let's go down to the gas station.
On the gas station
Start on
right
down.
now.
Let's go.
Okay. So we're at, we're already up to number 4, the effect of such use upon a peaceful enjoyment of people in their homes. The protection of the surrounding property and conservation of property values.
Are we out of here already, Eric?
The effect of odors, dust,
He's kicking us out already.
the effect of odors, dust, gas, smoke, fumes, vibration, glare, and noise upon use and value of the surrounding properties.
Is it gonna affect it any more than 95 running in their backyard?
I live there, yeah.
It's always been there.
Yeah, the most appropriate use of land and structures. You know, I can keep going.
You're not gonna meet them all.
Yeah, types,
Wait, that one fears me.
Which one?
Decision of the courts.
yes.
What's that?
Decisions of the courts, yes. The proposed use of regulations set forth herein, types and kinds of structures in the vicinity where public gatherings may be held, such as schools, churches, and the like. Facilities for use, water, sewer, that's fire explosives, environmental contamination, preservation of cultural and historic landmarks, separation from other. So, I mean, I think that, you know, there's 10 of them there that we may question, in my opinion.
Do they have to meet every living one?
We are, yeah, the way
You have to
it's,
consider every one of
Yeah.
them, right?
yes, the way that this has always been explained to me, let's see here if I can,
Billy.
We keep changing all night.
board shall grant the request with such conditions as the board deems responsible if the applicant demonstrates to the board the proposed building structures, addition, extensions, building use, or change will not adversely affect the public health, safety, security, morals, or general welfare regarding dangerous traffic conditions or jeopardizing the lives of property or people in the neighborhood. In deciding such a matter, imposing such conditions, the board shall consider, among other relative factors, the following, and that's our 22 items. So these are the items that are supposed to meet our watermark for making a decision.
We meet most. The day one comes through and meets them all, I'll fall over.
I'm still going to focus on the fact that the ones that were specifically called out in the staff report, they failed.
Well, I guess one thing that, that obviously, no, go ahead.
I'm sorry, so you say that the staff report's inaccurate?
Yeah, I have no idea what
Okay.
they were thinking with 3 and 4
Well,
specifically.
then should we get Eric over, who prepared the staff report?
I just think we have to review it and make our decision.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So, I guess,
Odd that they would single
and I know,
specific things and miss the mark so drastically on what they chose to pick out.
well, I guess I think it's, for me, it is difficult to make a decision without a site plan, without really knowing what the real request is in my mind. That's where I get a little hung up.
I agree. I would like to have seen at least a concept, an idea.
Something, yeah. You know, I'm not, so I don't know, you know, where I can see where some of these items could be applicable, could not be applicable. But to me, there's a lot of maybes and I don't knows.
Right. So, I mean, personally, just asking, how come we don't have these 22 items listed on this report?
This doesn't even say it's completely comprehensive, because it's.
Choose what applicable for a specific case.
Yeah.
So who chose?
Who determines what's applicable?
Right. That's sort of why.
Well, I think that's why.
It's a good
those are-
guideline.
Why there's just, yes,
That's why
a
there's
few
just
there.
things.
Yes,
Right.
he picked those out.
Okay.
And didn't do all 22, although often in some of our presentations,
Yeah, we don't.
they will go through all
Right.
22, you know,
Right.
and,
Right.
My opinion is, went through enough to a degree, that annexation deal that was done, the way it was described and built, is, I think, an overriding factor. You gotta have some commercial, and they're adhering to it. Not that I'd run afraid, but if we voted it down, they go to court and probably win.
well, that, I
And I
guess.
don't wanna force anybody that, but
And I'm not going to, I mean, me personally, I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
going to make a decision based on, you know, something
No, I
might happen
wouldn't.
in the courts.
Right.
And if they do, then, you know, then that's okay too,
does its own
in
thing.
my opinion.
But I
you know,
think
But,
with the town, all the things that the town did in that annexation deal, or whatever you
Yes.
call it, that,
the one concept plan.
the concept plan,
Yeah.
that carries, that's the letter of law that runs this thing.
Right.
Yeah, but we
And-
also have to
and-
factor in the fact that somebody mentioned today that they don't consider the people part of Havre de Grace. So,
Well, again, that's just
If it's
public
not
comment. We
annexed
can
in,
take that into our
Yeah.
consideration for all this, yeah.
Well, it's basically, when we go back out there, we have to vote on it.
We're-
You make a statement
we're-
for or against and how you're voting.
That's what we can do. Does anyone like to make a motion?
just strike it down.
If you want to make that as a motion and we vote on that, then we can do that.
We're either going to vote it down, table it, or what?
Well, can we table it?
I don't know. Maybe
April? We feel as if don't really have enough information to come to a decision. Can this be, can we table this? Can we ask for additional information, which I know is time and money for everyone, but you know, we're not in agreement as to feeling comfortable as a board to make a motion.
Well, I think if you did decide to table it because you don't have enough information, you would have to reopen the record and allow the specific information and then reset it for another hearing in order to accept that information to then make a decision. That would be an option.
Opinion, it's, you carry it then. I guess the word is you carry it?
Yes, but then you would have to reopen it to accept the additional information.
Right.
Yep.
Let's see, I'd like,
But you would table it to another time so that information could be presented.
I'm in one favor of tabling it. Open it up, table it, carry it. They don't have to get into a full-blown plan. I'd like a little, what's their dream for that property? What do they want to do with it? How many, give me just a rough idea what you're thinking of.
problem is, it's not required. Not required. It's not written in there.
It's not required.
No.
It's not required.
I'm asking it.
But
I
it
know,
would
but I'm just saying
also
it's not
help
required.
us
It would help us
make a decision.
See, but
I think it would ease a lot of people.
anything that's thrown out there is going to be subject to design criteria of the site, for one.
Absolutely.
The design criteria of the site, stormwater management, state
Coverage,
road
this,
access.
everything.
The state road access is going to have to be reviewed. Just for that 23 acres. So it's like they're throwing a dart on a dartboard as to what you can say is what they're going to put in there. Like you said, it could be a grocery store, which is probably a permitted use. And it could have gas pumps, and it could be a full-blown giant,
Yeah, they
and it's
wouldn't be,
permitted.
my opinion is they wouldn't be asking for this unless somebody's already, there's a thought.
So,
Share the thought with me.
we're on a slippery slope here because it's one, we're asking for information that they don't have to provide, right?
Our attorney will tell us whether we can or not.
Well,
Okay.
that they don't have to provide, no, but we can,
You could also, alternatively, you could ask for conditions on the approval. Like if you were going, for the ones that you find are deficient, maybe state a condition that would make it sufficient. That would be another option.
well, I think at this point, we need to make a motion, whether that is to approve, disapprove, or table.
Is that right?
Am I making it, or who's?
I'll make a motion to open it up and table it, and I'd like to see at least some thought about what's going on there. I think it would ease a lot of people.
I know, but it's just
It's not required, but I'm allowed to ask.
Well, then we can, we don't want,
I hate to carry it
personally,
on.
I don't want to disapprove it, but I can't approve it. So that's where I'm at.
I gave you the answer.
That's where I'm at,
The
because I
table.
don't know
So,
what we're
do we
talking
have a
about
list?
approving.
So, April, correct me if I'm wrong, if we open back up and go back on and request this from the app.
That's
It's
a year.
easier,
That's
it's
a year
fairer
for
to
them.
them to
So,
give them the option
make a list
to
of what we
table it
want,
and move it.
go
than
back, open
completely
up,
reapply,
say this is
except
what
they
we
say that
want,
notice
and they can
everything.
meet it.
That's not fair.
I'm not worried about easy.
Well, that's, you're
No, I'm not worried about
Burning.
easy, because I'm a no right now. And this is not only a no, it's a hell no. And I'm not in the business of making it easier for them to do something that I think is an extremely bad idea.
Okay.
A professional or personal belief?
Well, I'm not a professional.
Okay, so it's just your personal belief, right?
Well, obviously.
Right, yeah, I'm just saying.
That's
I
what
mean,
we're
yeah.
here
But we're here
to share.
act
Okay.
as a neutral party.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Well, we'll have to go back on record.
Well, we're
And then
deliberating.
we
yes.
need a list of what we
Reopen
want
it.
them to require. We have to go out of here, they have to go out of here with a list of what we want back from.
Which will be our motion.
What are we gonna put on the list?
I think
Let's make a
something
list.
conceptual.
yeah, we need, I think we need to have like some idea of what the applicant is actually proposing. Whether,
That's fair to ask. You gonna motion it and I'll back it up, or? I will, and I don't care. There's
Yeah,
a
I'm
Christmas
like-
card I'm not getting.
yeah, well, probably won't get one anyway, but.
All right, so
You're on the fence, he's a no. This gives him a chance.
I'm a
It's-
yes,
come-
so.
Yeah.
So
and
there we
that-
go,
and
we got one of
that's
each.
good.
I'd be,
Yeah.
I'd be a yes on it and let the planning board fight it,
Well,
but you're just,
right, I mean,
Either way.
see,
I want
the
to see at
problem is,
least 3
that's why,
yeses.
that's my feeling too, is that there's so many planning issues that are involved in this.
Is it worth
The
it
cart-
asking that, or
it's
do we
the
just go
cart
for a
before-
vote, period?
This is the cart before the horse type of thing, you know?
Well,
That's fine, I put it on the floor, so it
Sorry.
wouldn't attract my attention.
Or do we just go for a vote,
So-
go for a vote, period?
well,
No,
I would rather, my feeling is not to do that. I would like to, for them to try to, for them to provide some other,
we're asking for more detailed information on what they
Something.
really think's gonna go there.
on
Hearing
what is
about this
actually
next
being
one, too.
proposed.
We got
Yeah,
that.
Which
my
is
opinion
fine,
is I'd
which
table
is
them
fine.
both. I'd recommend tabling the other one.
Okay?
right tonight.
And I think it would be helpful if you identified the sections where you find it's
Right.
deficient, if you're going to do that.
Okay, let's,
Go down the list.
mine is, general site plan. And where
Okay, is that
stuff's
list
gonna
on
be.
this list? Let's see where it goes against the list that we're supposed to be following. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Oh, to list the,
We have to list an
our
item.
items
What
of
number?
concern?
Right.
No, that's not what,
You can refer to it just to the sections in the staff report. That might be the easiest way, because that tracks the code, I think.
Well, the staff report doesn't sort of, less on the
Yeah.
staff report than on this list of things we're following.
Oh, okay. Well, then do the list, then start from the list you're following.
Submit that. for-
okay, so,
What item numbers?
all right,
You go down,
so
go down,
let's,
I'll list them.
okay, let's just say our questions would be,
If you give me a number, just.
okay,
as you go down, then we
number
can
3, which
handle
is
that
traffic
number.
conditions and
Number 3.
facilities, including adequate
All right,
on
number
off-street
3.
parking.
Number 3.
Number 3.
I'm just gonna put that, we'll
okay.
enter that into the record.
All right, number 4, the effect of such use upon a peaceful enjoyment of people in their homes.
Number 4.
Yes, we'd
Okay.
like to,
Number
you know,
4.
if there's, protection of surrounding properties and the conservation of property values.
Number 5.
Yeah,
Okay, number 5.
and I'll say number 6.
Number 6.
The effects of odors, dust, gas, smoke, fumes, vibrations, glare, and noise upon the use of surrounding property values.
Next.
I think that's enough.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
All right, so,
You don't want my answer to that.
Okay.
so 3, 4, 5, 6. So,
And which I feel that a conceptual plan, so we would be able to answer these as our question guidelines, would help us make a decision.
help if possible, but. I
Yep,
don't think we're-
that's what I think.
Where is that from?
This is from, this is, well, these are the
That's from like
items
your
that we,
notebook.
yes, this
Oh.
is, yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I've never seen that either.
You don't have this?
No, that's your
Is
secret
that really
copy.
part of the record? Is that what the applicant gets?
No, I don't know what that's.
So,
I think this is a condensed version of the long ones that we have, but yeah, this was from my Board of Appeals book that I've had for
That came from the previous chair.
10 years or so.
That
Well,
was-
no,
I think
this
Christopher Columbus helped write that.
probably, yeah, smart guy.
present these 10 items. There's 22 over there, so,
And that's why I'm wondering where this comes from.
right. So this is right out of the code. He was referring to 16 something as well, which,
I always thought that these were like just condensed versions of the ones from the code, but I could be mistaken. But I believe that's what this is.
that's more detailed. That seems to be more detailed than what we're getting here. So,
I'll send this to you tomorrow. How's that sound, okay? Yeah, so we'll figure it out.
we'll just reference those. We want to reference 3, 4, 5, and 6 on that sheet,
Yes. All right? And so is our proposal to table this because we're concerned of these items? until
Correct.
we
That's
can
what,
get
that's
some
what
additional
the motion should be.
information.
You making that, Jeff?
You
I'll
open
second.
testimony,
Yeah, you open this back on the record.
and then,
Call the attorney back up.
yeah, and what we'd like to do is reopen the testimony, bring them up, and we've got some concerns referring to
This document and it's numbers 4, 5, and 6.
3, 4, 5, and 6.
3, 4,
One-
5, and 6. We'll give them a copy of it.
Okay,
Instead
Yeah.
of just reading it all out. I mean, you can read it out if you want.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think we have to read it out.
okay, yeah, so we're really not making a motion. We're just going to give,
Ask for
Well, we're going to
continuation.
move to table this and
Yes.
have them the opportunity to come back. and answer
Okay.
those.
the board would, want to come up? So the board would like to table this for the time being because of some of our concerns about item number 3, 4, 5, 6, is that the numbers?
Yes, sir. 3, 4, 5, and 6.
5 and 6, and we'll get you a copy of this until we get some additional information that could help us determine if these items of our question are going to negatively affect the area. So we're requesting at least a conceptual plan of what we would be making a decision, what we would be basing a decision on.
I understand.
Okay?
Yep, and your instruction to us will specify the information you're seeking.
Yes.
Yep. I would add to that, do we, if you agree to it, we table this with the conceptual idea, do we table the second one with the same idea of the hotel as part of this to some, like I said, it doesn't have to be a full-blown set of plans, but an idea of what's going in. I think it's fair. It gives us a little more to munch on. Where we would think the station would go, how big, is it a full C-store? Here's what we're looking for. How it would, just briefly, yep, it could conform. We haven't crossed all the Ts, dotted all the Is, but it gets us a better feel for what could potentially go in.
I'm sorry for interrupting. We'll accept that invitation. Our only request would be they still be heard on the same night because they really are sistered in that way. It's the same data. And
yes,
as we were discussing it during your deliberations, we understand why you might do that. It's not unlike the single concept plan itself. The goal of that was to say, demonstrate to us that the things that you're saying are possible are in fact possible. And we can do that. We have
Okay.
confidence
thank
we can
you.
do
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So you would just need a motion to table now in order to,
I'll make that motion to table
are you going to do both?
both, to table.
I think we should do
All
all
three.
three.
Well, I think the third one's separate. I think the third one
I
can be done.
genuinely believe that the circumstances of the third one are completely different.
Okay.
So
all right,
what you
we're
should
talking-
do it as two separate motions. So finish up this 556. We'll get an additional letter of requests of what the information specifically you need in order to do your analysis.
Okay.
And then do a second motion on the next
Then
the
we
next
do
one on the
close-
hotel.
vote This one, close it up, reopen the hotel.
Reopen, and we'll do
And
the
I'll make the
second
same
one.
motion.
Correct.
Okay.
Rock and roll.
All right. Sounds good. Do we have a motion?
I motion to table this and carry it, and it would be included with, if we table the hotel, to keep them both together on the same night. Is that enough of a motion?
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, thank you. 3 ayes. That motion's been tabled. Thank you. This
sir.
portion of the hearing tonight is adjourned.
Now,
All right.
open up the hotel, because we have to do the
Okay,
same thing.
well, let's.
Don't go anywhere.
What's that? Okay, are you guys ready? You
Yeah,
guys good?
That's quick then, because we're just going to open it, table it, and move on. I think he heard us and read it.
Okay.
So yeah, there's more, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, the Board of Appeals for November 6th, 2025, case number, this is,
You want 550?
yeah, 557, which is a request for a conditional use. Do we have a motion?
And before you make a motion, if I could just enter my appearance for the record, Eric
Yes.
McLaughlin, Pest and Cats Law, on behalf of the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to table and carry this for the same reasons, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They'll be forwarded to the applicant as we did requested for the gas station. And they would be held, if they table off, they'll be held at the same night.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay.
And just to clarify, this is Board of Appeals number,
557.
okay, thank you.
Okay?
Now we're going to put
All right.
555.
Okay, now we are going to hear the case
555.
555. Board of Appeals hearing November 6, 2025. This is case 555, which is located at 2010 Level Road, which is a request for a conditional use for a pumping utility booster station. Okay. Let's do this again. Let me change my glasses one more time here.
They need that for the whole development anyway.
Okay. At this time, anyone wishing to speak at this meeting, please stand for the oath. Raise your right hand. Do you hereby solemnly declare or affirm under penalties of perjury that all responses given and statements made will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. The codified zoning ordinances of the mayor and city council for the city of Havre de Grace specify procedures governing the operation of the Board of Appeals for the city. Section 3 dictates administrative requirements be met prior to a hearing. This includes advertising, posting of the property, and notification of applicable property owners. Have these items been met?
Yes, Chairman.
Thank you. Have you received any response in reference to case 555 from residents?
No, we have not.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm sorry. The ordinances governing the operation of the Board of Appeals for the city is a matter of public record and available at City Hall should anyone wish to review it. The applicant tonight again is requesting a conditional use. At this time, we'll hear from the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, Eric McLaughlin, Pess and Katz Law, on behalf of the client to whom I'm going to refer as the Green family. Again, we're here requesting conditional use approval for a public utility on a property that is not the subject of the other two that have been tabled this evening. It's actually a completely different property. My intention, though, is the same. I will adopt and incorporate the staff report that has been prepared by the Department of Planning and its staff for the purposes of this application. I'll also adopt and incorporate the single concept plan and annexation resolution 277 because they contain data and planning information that is directly relevant to this application. Second part.
Give it a minute.
Proceed.
Proceed, yeah. We have microphones.
The second part of what I'll do is offer testimony from Mr. Mitch Enzer, and given the information that was provided to you earlier this evening, I'll ask again that he be accepted as an expert planner and with specific expertise in the burden of proof in a conditional use application.
Accepted.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Enzer, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, Mitch Enzer. I'm with Bay State Land Services, located 2012 Rock Spring Road, Forest Hill, Maryland, 21050.
And you have to your left my right an exhibit that's different. Can you describe what this exhibit depicts, please?
Yes, the exhibit is the area that was the subject of the Legacies preliminary plan that was approved very recently, 2025, and that preliminary plan is the subject of the need for the public utility structure.
And at the risk of extensively leading your testimony, is it fair to say that you've been working with the Green family on this and other properties in that area for several years, that you visited this site 25 plus times, that you have prepared plans, reviewed plans, and have studied public information available about this property?
Yes, I have.
Thank you. In the course of submitting the application that's before this board for the purposes of a public utility, did you meet with Eric Lawrence and Director Goines to respond to any questions that they might have?
Yes, our meetings with city staff included both the Planning and Zoning Office and the Department of Public Works. Prior to any site plan submission, which the Legacies was a site plan submission, therefore detailed very specifically with lot locations, roadway locations, utilities. We did meet with city staff both during the preparation of the plan to get city staff input. We worked with city staff to address any issues that came up during the design process that we had to consult with city staff. And then also, upon the approval of the legacy site plan, one of the conditions that we found to be required as part of the APF study was that the pressures in the higher elevations of this subject property and the subject subdivision needed to have boosted water for fire supply and adequate potable water supply to the higher elevations of the legacy subdivision, which prompted the need for a public utility structure, and that would be in the form of a water booster station.
You mentioned the elevations on the property. The property is currently undeveloped. Can you describe its layout, topography, et cetera, for the board?
Yes, in general, if you can see the gray shaded from your vantage point, the gray shaded area down along the bottom of the plan, and if you direct your attention to the bottom right of the plan, that would generally be the lowest elevation of topography of the land, with the higher elevation being to the north or the top left. So in topography, it's bottom right is low, top left is high, and those elevations more towards the top left of the property is what requires boosted water.
And I may have glossed over this, but can you explain briefly what it is that's being requested in terms of a conditional use?
Yeah, the conditional use is a public utility structure, and that it's a structure that would be able to provide added water pressure more than what the water tanks and water supply in that area can provide in order to allow it to meet fire safety regulations.
And you indicated that the Planning Commission ultimately approved a site plan for residential development here called the Legacies?
Yes, yes.
I keep referring to this exhibit. It was attached to, or an exhibit was attached to the application. I'm adopting that for the purposes of your testimony. Is that the site on which the public utility that you've described must be located?
Yes, it is.
And in the approval of the plan for the Legacies, did the Planning Commission have to determine that that plan complies with the master plan, the comprehensive plan, and other planning tools that were available to it?
Yes, it did.
And so is it fair to say that the request for this particular use is a request for a use to support the master plan, the comprehensive plan, and the other planning tools that it must support?
Yes, it is.
And would it be possible, in your professional opinion, for the site plan that was approved to be developed without the inclusion of this public utility in the way that you described?
Yes, the part of the project, based on preliminary elevations, working with city staff, specifically the Department of Public Works, part of this development is able to be served by the water pressure provided by either the Lapidum or Bully Rock tank. Another portion of it, as I mentioned in topography, that gets higher in elevation, will require the support of a public utility structure in the form of a water booster station. So part of it, the site can be served with the water supply in the zone. Part of the subdivision requires boosted water.
In order for it to be served?
Correct.
Is there any portion of the property that's located within the Chesapeake Bay critical area?
No portion of this property is in the critical area.
And has there already been a delineation of streams and wetlands on the property?
Yes.
And has there been a forest stand delineation already approved for this property?
Yes, there has.
Are there any rare, threatened, or endangered species habitats on the property?
None to my knowledge.
Would a user of the property ultimately be required in the course of developing it residentially to protect any environmental features that do exist?
Yes, they would.
Your indulgence, I'm trying to abbreviate as much of this as I can to
You're fine. Go ahead. Yeah.
Are public utility structures permitted as a conditional use in the RB zoning district?
Yes, they are.
And does a pumping station of the type needed in modern water and sewer improvement designs meet the definition in the code of a public utility structure?
Yes, it does.
Even if this use of a public utility structure is approved, would it still be subject to planning commission review and participate as part of a site plan review?
Yes, it would be part of the review process, both of the planning department and the Department of Public Works, as it is a technical station, and the location of that station is driven by topography. In our preliminary meetings with the Department of Public Works, we've basically determined an elevation at which the public utility structure would need to service, but the actual exact location hasn't been determined. It's still a ongoing determination based on the pressure needs at higher elevations for the whole project.
And are you actively engaged with the city's public works about what that will look like?
Yes, we are.
Is the water and sewer layout for the residential subdivision in any way part of this application?
The water and sewer layout was depicted on the Legacy's site plan, and therefore is not part of this application. It is just the use of the public utility structure.
This application's not seeking any variances or any relief from any requirements of the water and sewer?
This application does not.
Will the developer be required to assure that this public utility building is harmonious with the community?
Yes, that is typical for the stations, or the most recent station that we have designed. The City of Havre de Grace did adopt the Harford County Water and Sewer Design Guidelines. In those guidelines, they do speak to exterior of the facility. What we did in our most recent design, and I do believe the Department of Public Works Director has visited that site. We took a look at our site, at that subject property had a community center and had residential buildings that we wanted to make this booster station look a little bit less industrial and more harmonious with the subdivision. And therefore, we did approach the Harford County Department of Public Works, and that one was in Harford County, and asked them if we could make some aesthetic changes that were maintenance-free for the county, but also harmonious with the subdivision, and they did agree to allow us to do that. I do have a rendering of some of the prior water booster stations that were designed by others that are somewhat industrial looking, and then I also do have the design that we had that was more harmonious with the subdivision, and I can hold that up for reference. The first image would be the more industrial looking brick facade facility that have been built recently and probably went into operation within the last 2 years. And then our facility is the more blue-colored station that'll look a little more harmonious with a residential subdivision. And if I could, I'll hold it up for the
Love to see
screen
that, yeah.
for your viewing. This station was built recently, probably went into service probably in the 2022 timeframe,
Okay.
and is consistent with Harford County design guidelines.
Okay.
What I would like to show you is the design for the station that we recently put into operation. I do believe Department of Public Works staff has visited the station, and I wasn't there personally, but I do believe they found it to be something that they would endorse in having. It still is maintenance-free, but it brings in some of the character of a residential subdivision, and that's what we would intend to work with the city staff to produce here as well.
An estimate of what the dimensions would be?
Yes, I believe they're in the staff report. I think they're somewhere in the range of 30 by 50, something in that range.
Yep. I did see it.
And we did research back in with Harford County Department of Public Works staff to verify that the several stations that we know were recently designed were very similar in size.
Yeah, 30 by 54.
Thanks.
Mr. Enzer, in your professional opinion, are there any facts or circumstances that show that a pumping station in this particular subdivision would have any effect on the surrounding properties that's greater than those inherently associated with a pumping station used generally in a similar residential subdivision?
No, in fact, this would be a required element of this particular subdivision.
Dare I use the word necessity for the
Yes.
subdivision? Okay. Public utilities are required elements of residential subdivisions, correct?
Yes, they are, both public water and public sewer.
And without this pumping station, it's true that the existing water infrastructure could not provide adequate water pressure to all of the dwellings in the legacy subdivision that's been approved, correct?
That is correct.
In your professional opinion, are there any facts or circumstances that show that a pumping station at this particular subdivision, in this particular subdivision, would have any effect on this developing neighborhood that is greater than those inherently associated with a pumping station in similarly situated neighborhoods?
No, I do not.
Would the public pumping station promote the public welfare by assisting with adequate water pressure, for example?
Yes, it does, for that very reason.
And would it positively contribute to the ability to develop the site for the purposes for which the site plan was approved?
Yes, it does.
Does the application submitted by the Green family meet all of the applicable provisions of the city code?
Yes, it will. It will have,
Does the application that was submitted for this approval meet the requirements?
For this approval, yes. We have many approvals to get, but for this specific use, yes.
And have you received and reviewed the staff report that was prepared by the Department of Planning?
Yes, I have.
And do you agree with the analysis and the reasoning and the conclusions in the city's staff report?
Yes, I do.
And would you recommend, as they did, that this board support a motion to approve the application for this public utility structure conditional use at this location in the RB zone?
Yes, I would.
And will you remain available for questions if the board has them?
I will stay right here.
Mr. Chairman, just as an additional point, because it was referenced, I'll adopt and incorporate the Department of Planning staff report in the Legacy's preliminary subdivision plan that was approved, because it also has information about the utilities that this station serves to support. But that would be the extent of our case.
Thank you. Questions?
The developer is footing the bill to put this in? That's part of the development?
That's correct. It's part of the cost of building the infrastructure.
And then who maintains it going forward? Does that fall over to the town then?
Yes, it will become a public structure,
Okay, but
publicly owned. Both the structure and the land will be deeded to the city.
Okay, but it's all built at the developer's expense going in.
Yes, it is.
And does this run all the time, or is this like an as-needed?
There will be, the simple answer is yes, it will run all the time. There are several different pump types in the structure. There is for conversation's sake, a domestic pump that supplies regular shower water, washing hands, laundry. And then there is also a fire supply, or not a fire supply, a high capacity supply. Should there be a need for significant water to be delivered, those larger pumps would activate and be able to push a larger volume sufficient for a fire incident, perhaps.
And I take it all that switches on automatically, probably on pressure and volume?
Yes, they're called variable frequencies. Early on in the subdivision process, there might only be, well, there could just be one home. And that pump barely needs to turn in order to supply water to that one home. But as we get 20, 30, 40, 50 homes that need water supply, that variable frequency drive allows that pump to operate, to service the needs as the supply needs ramp up.
Cool, thank you.
Other questions? Anyone?
I had a couple more points just because they're on the standard.
Sure, please do.
This structure is going to meet and exceed all the required setbacks, parking, similar requirements once it's constructed?
Oh, yes, it will.
Okay.
The parking needs for this are basically outlined by the Department of Public Works, as well as access.
Okay. And does this in any way impinge on any historic or culturally significant site?
No, we would expect, based on our preliminary information, it'll be located internal to the site and not on the periphery of the subdivision.
And does a pumping station of this nature in any way adversely affect the health, safety, security, morals, or general welfare of the residents nearby?
It supports those, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Next, we'll hear from the Department of Planning. Eric?
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board, and I'll take the easy one tonight. So,
Okay, good.
So as they've mentioned, the structure is a minor structure that's required to meet the adequate public facilities requirement for water service. We reviewed it against all the criteria for a special exception, the 10 criteria, and it meets all those requirements, so we are recommending approval of the proposal.
Okay, thank you. Comments from the public who would like to speak, please come forward. Yes.
My complaints, iterations are pretty much the same as before. Do you need another objection form turned in for this also?
That'll be fine.
Okay, it's a copy, or can you reuse that one?
Oh, it's the same one?
Yeah, 'cause it
Oh,
covers
yeah,
all
no,
three.
then we don't need,
All
yeah,
three.
okay.
Okay, this one's a little different. Let me, if you'll bear with me, please. To start off, respectfully, the city's own Board of Appeals rules and Maryland zoning law both make clear that any interested or affected person may testify, me, whoever. Our homes directly face the development site across Level Road. We share the same traffic, light, and groundwater environment. The board's conditional use test under 2517B specifically refers to surrounding properties in the general neighborhood, which includes us. Doesn't matter if we're in the city or not, it includes us. Excluding our testimony, as the gent recommended, based on jurisdictional boundaries, would conflict with the board's own rules and Maryland case law on the matter. So I just wanted to make that clear. As far as this, a public utility structure is not exempt from zoning impact test. It still must satisfy the same conditional use standards under 2517B of the city code, meaning it must not be detrimental to the surrounding properties or the general neighborhood. The staff report called it required element of residential development, and that's only true for an internal subdivision systems, not for a facility built across from an existing neighborhood outside of that subdivision that is disparate away from another subdivision that is going to feed across the street from my house, literally across the street from, well, our houses, I should say. The staff report itself admits public facility structures are required elements of residential development and commonly found in close proximity to dwellings. That's a general statement, not a finding of compatibility. You can point out, well, I'm pointing out that this language does not prove that the locations across from Susquehanna Hills meets the no adverse effect requirement of 2517B, 3, and 6. The property is zoned RB, residential and business. This is from the staff report again. Intended to allow compact urban residential areas with convenient public services and commercial uses that are compatible with nearby residential neighborhoods. By locating a mechanical utility facility with pumps, lighting, and vehicular access directly across from a quiet residential neighborhood developed in 1962, that project fails the compatibility standard. Utility necessity does not erase the city's duty to protect existing residential character. The report also claims the proposed water booster station will not impact environmentally sensitive areas. That analysis ignores construction phase effects, excavation, vibration, stormwater runoff that can cause sediment pollutants to migrate towards our properties and wells. There are no impact findings, nothing. That staff report was pretty much just rubber stamped by the gents. All three proposals, it's a cumulative impact argument is what I'm getting to finally, is basically the public utility station isn't an isolated structure. It forms part of the three-use commercial complex. The combined noise, traffic, and visual activity must be evaluated together. Piecemeal approval violates the city's own intent under 2516E, which requires conditions necessary to protect adjacent properties and the general neighborhood. Now, respectfully, the public utility station across from the Susquehanna Hills cannot be treated as a routine subdivision facility. It sits directly opposite a long-established neighborhood of private well homes that have never been exposed to mechanical noise, excavation, vibration, or nighttime lighting. The staff reports claim that these stations are commonly found near dwellings doesn't meet the city's legal burden under 2517B to prove this specific facility will not harm the peaceful enjoyment or value of surrounding properties. It also ignores cumulative impacts with the proposed gas station and hotel. We therefore ask the board to defer or deny this utility station until independent engineering and environmental reviews confirm that it will not cause noise, light, runoff, or soil contamination affecting Susquehanna Hills.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Iannelli? Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, committee. Thank you for your time. I understand
Your name and address, please.
Please forgive me. Peter Iannello, 1900 Level Road, Havre de Grace, Maryland. I understand from Mr. Enser's testimony that the location has yet to be determined. The question, service area, will this booster station serve only the applicant's project, or will it also serve surrounding properties, including my property?
I can answer that. One of the meetings that we were required to have by the standard operating procedure as found in the design guidelines that the city has adopted does require us to meet with the Department of Public Works as step number 2 in that design process. At that time, we are, one of the discussion items is the service area. And it was discussed that the service area can and could serve all properties upgrade from where the station would be located. By preliminary topography observations, your property would fit that service area as needing boosted water.
Okay, thank you. So I understand on your testimony that the booster station, although its final location hasn't been determined, it will definitely be downgrade from my property.
Oh, yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then cost and fees, if there's a recoupment agreements, will there be any additional connection fees, assessments, or shared cost?
I would expect that all recipients of the boosted water, which means all of those who enjoy the availability to improve their properties with the boosted water, would likely be required to enter into an agreement to pay for the person who pays for the installation, and very likely based on a equivalent dwelling unit basis, based on their needs.
Thank you. So a recoupment agreement, and would that occur after it was dedicated to the city, or is that a recoupment agreement with the developer?
I would imagine that to be much earlier than operational status. I would imagine that to be occurring during the development design of that station.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for your consideration and including us in the design, Mr. Enzer. We appreciate you and Mr. Green. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please, come up.
Chip Place, 301 Cigar Loop, Havre de Grace again. Having a couple of questions about this. This is during the preliminary subdivision review of the legacies, water was very much an outstanding issue, and it wasn't really resolved. It was left to the administrative process, and apparently the administrative process has gotten to the point where a booster station is required. There was also discussion during the preliminary subdivision, but unresolved, regarding how the water lines would run through the overall green properties. And that was unresolved, and it could have had a large impact. So unless there's a further site plan approval required of this, there's no more planning commission review of this, and there's no more public review of this. So your body is the public review of this at this point. So it's important, I think, to nail a few things down. If I could ask Mr. Enser, you say you haven't quite defined where this would be located. Could you give us just some idea, maybe on your map, what the areas you're considering?
It's based on a topographic elevation, based on our discussions with the Department of Public Works staff, to be somewhere in the approximate elevation range of the 350 elevation.
Could you just point on the map to give us some idea where that might be?
In topographic terms, I would believe it to traverse down in that.
Okay.
But I would measure that statement with the fact that there's two types of topography. There is topography that's there today, and then there would be topography of the site in its final graded condition once those grading plans are approved, which they are not. Right. So elevation grade changes will occur as the development design of the grading plan evolves.
Okay. So it could be anywhere along that rough line?
Generally, yes. It's incumbent to us to move as little soil as possible.
Right.
And that's our goal.
Okay. You know, and I'm not sure if this is related or not, but I noticed it was actually, I think, the plan for the gas station, and you'd referenced this in your testimony regarding the gas station. You're showing looks like some kind of easement that goes from Bully Rock Parkway near Monarchus, kind of zigzags a bit, and then goes up to and crosses over into the commercial zone. I don't recall that from the preliminary subdivision application. Is that a new addition, or do you all recognize that as something new?
If I may, I
apologize. Are you referring to something that's on this exhibit?
It is.
For this application?
Yes. And it was on the legacy site plan as well.
Do you all recall that?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, there's an easement being shown kind of on the back side of the public park, right along the creek. I don't recall ever seeing that before.
Oh.
I guess what I'm trying to pull a couple of things together here. There's an application for a new pumping station. There was open questions about how the water is actually going to be served. If there's a new easement through from Monarchus up to either the legacies and the commercial area. I just want to point out for the record, that is through existing forest land, existing sensitive forest land. It's high priority forest retention area. And so if this is something new as part of the overall applications, I think it should be considered that and should be considered as part of, if it's related to the pumping station, it should be considered as part of your deliberations as well. So I would suggest, like in the last application, since we don't know exactly where the pumping station is going to be, that you all, again, table this until you know just where it's going to be. And if there's any associated infrastructure involved with this that hasn't been part of a prior either subdivision application or part of this application. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I can speak to that,
Please do.
Please.
Yep.
I can assure you for certain that the lines that Mr. Place is questioning are shown on the legacy site plan.
Okay.
They are also the utility line extension from the Bully Rock tank and to the Lapidum tank, which is a existing public utility structure located about 150 feet into Lapidum Road on the right-hand side that is directly across from the Susquehanna Hills subdivision. The GHD water study asked of the Greens to connect the water line from its current location at the Bully Rock tank through the Green property to make a loop to the Lapidum tank. And those lines are shown on the legacy site plan for that specific reason.
Okay.
To get it through the legacies, stub it out to the business area property that we spoke to earlier tonight. That design also, in working with DPW staff, we were asked to extend for the purpose of better circulation for the city, the water line through the legacy subdivision and connect to the end of Monarchos Drive where it connects to Bully Rock Parkway. And the Green family did agree, for the benefit of the city, to extend that water line out to connect to Monarchos to improve the water quality of the city.
I don't doubt those conversations have occurred. I just don't think they've been public before. So
Okay.
if maybe staff could clarify that, you all could seek clarification from staff and hold this matter open until the site location for the pumping station is determined and if there was any further infrastructure involved.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, at this time, we will deliberate and make our decision.
I think council wanted to reply to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Yes.
quite all right. Just
I almost forgot about you.
I'm easy to forget. Just for the sake of a clear record and out of respect to Mr. Lieber, I believe was his name, I may have done a poor job of explaining where this is going to be. I don't believe this is directly across from his neighborhood. This is quite a bit down and around Bully Rock Parkway. So there is virtually no possibility that this is something that would be visible by or impacted in his neighborhood. I thought so. And then the other thing I'll just point out is that even with a pumping station, we always have to answer if before we answer how. And it's not true that for the purposes of this application, there are all manner of service questions for water and sewer. How the water is going to be served is not the question on this application. It's if we may please use a public utility for the purposes of accomplishing it. And if you allow us to use that use, then that's what we'll do. We're not asking for permission about associated structures in order to do it. We're simply following the code that says we need permission for this type of structure.
Okay, thank you. Again, we will now deliberate.
I have no deliberation, go with it. They're looping it in.
Did you want to close the record first?
I'm sorry?
Close the record first?
Yes, we'll close the record at this point. Thank you.
I have no problem.
Yeah, I think,
Fire service, they're looping it in.
I think it's needed. I
And
think,
could you use the microphone so it
Yes.
can get picked up? Thank you.
okay, yeah.
This is buried in there.
Except in the package that we. 30-second.
Right,
You're right.
yeah.
It's a win-win.
Well, this is really part of the legacy portion of this.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah, and which is, you know, approved and,
Water pressure up there is not great. Anything that may take
It's
some
gonna
of
be
the
a win for
burden
everybody.
yeah.
and just for pure fire suppression.
Good point.
Driving force is
Okay.
And I like the idea they're gonna make it sort of more residential.
I do
look
too.
than what
Yeah,
the
that's way better than
construction is.
this.
That's kinda nice.
Yes, yeah.
You can take this one.
All right,
I'll back it up.
do we have a motion?
No motion.
Okay.
Get moving, get moving.
We're now back on record. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the conditional use for Board of Appeals case number 555 based on the facts and findings as outlined in the staff report.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved.
Before we return, I had one question of our attorney.
Yes. April,
Hey.
question for you.
When we carry those over,
Yeah.
do we notice, how does the public get notice of the next meeting?
The staff department, the planning department will put the notice out. It'll probably be at the next scheduled time that you.
Okay, so we're doing that correctly
Yeah,
then?
Okay.
they'll put the notice out
Thank you
for
for
you.
the good guidance.
Board's adjourned. Thank you all for coming.